Hey, what's wrong with you? Are you deaf or something? Yes. Well, at least partially anyway. Good morning, Senator Hope. It's Monday morning. It's nice and bright and sunny out here. And I get to talk to you today, which I'm looking forward to doing. Now, the reason I started the video that way is because some of you may not actually know this about me, but yes, I am partially deaf. My right ear is pretty much for show, and that's it. Well, it keeps my glasses up, otherwise it'd go wonky. That's pretty much all it does. Well, it's not entirely gone, but you get the point. See, many years ago, I was sitting at home one day and I felt that there was a little bit of a soreness going on in my ear. Well, that one. And being the guy that I am, I thought, you know what, I'll just take some Tylenol, get rid of the pain, everything's going to be good. No, that was a bad idea. See, I let it go for a day and then 2 days, and after 2 days of still having some pain, an odd thing happened. I couldn't hear out of that ear at all, 100% hearing loss. And at that point, that light bulb went on over top of the head and went, you know, maybe you better go see a doctor about this. Yeah. So I did. Went and saw the doctor, and he took a look inside and says, hey, you've got an ear infection. Take this medication. Well, the medication I took cleared up the ear infection in like 24, maybe 48 hours. And I started feeling fine, except I still couldn't hear out of that ear. Turns out when I had the infection, it kind of scarred the inside of my ear, so the doctor wasn't sure if I was ever going to hear out of that ear ever again. Well, it turns out I've gotten about 40% of my hearing back, which some people would say, well, 40%, that's a lot. If you've ever stuck your head underwater, been swimming underwater, and heard somebody talking above, and you know someone's there and it's a little bit garbled, that's what it sounds like. So yeah, when I tell people I'm partially deaf, they don't generally believe me, but I really am, which kind of makes it a little difficult to do some things in my life. For example, if I'm ever in a room, a large room or something, and there's a lot of people in there, and there's a conversation going on near me, and they're trying to talk to me, I can't hear you. I can't focus on that. And that reminds me of the other thing. I can't pinpoint sounds. So I'm not able to triangulate where something is, which can be kind of comical sometimes. Have you ever lost your phone somewhere in your house and said, hey, can you call my phone? No, I don't wanna. Would you please just call my phone? Sure, I'll do it. All right. And they call your phone, and you just, you listen to it, you go and you find it. That could happen to me. It could be sitting in the center of the floor in the middle of the room, and if I didn't see it, if I was trying to find it, I would walk around that room like this and this and this, because I would not be able to actually find out where that phone is. So you know what? It's a little frustrating sometimes, comical to others, but I've learned to live with it. That being said, trying to hear anything with loud noise going by, kind of like the motorcycle that's going on right now, can be difficult, because we always focus on the loud noise, and we're not able to focus on the small things. At least I'm not able to. Well, that got me thinking, which, as I've said before, is a good thing sometimes not so much. And wanted to tell you a little bit of a story today about a guy named Elijah. Now, for those of you who may have not heard of Elijah, we'll do another video on him another time, but this is just a little snippet into Elijah and what happened to him one day. I'm going to read you a little bit of a passage. Now, this is out of 1 Kings 19, and it goes like this. And there Elijah came to a cave and lodged in it, and behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said to him, what are you doing here, Elijah? And he said, well, I've been very jealous for you, Lord, the God of hosts, for the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant and thrown down your altars and killed your prophets by the sword, and I'm the only one that's left, and they seek my life to take it away. And he said to him, go out and stand on the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore the mountains and broke it to pieces in the rocks, rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, and the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, the sound of a low whisper. And when Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his cloak, and he went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came the voice to him. And he said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" See, I read that and I think, that's pretty cool. It's a neat story. But what does that have to do with our lives nowadays? Well, let's focus on that part. If we were to, say, take a look at what's going on in our world right now, what has been going on in our world right now, I think we would all agree that it has been in somewhat of a bit of an upheaval over the last little while. We all felt that, we've all seen that, and we all have been thinking about that, and we've been focusing on that. But God was not in the pandemic. We need to understand that much like Elijah, we need to stop and listen for God. What is he saying to us? Is he trying to get our attention? What is it that he wants for us? Now, being partially deaf, sometimes I have to concentrate really, really hard on hearing things. And my focus is easily dissuaded because something loud goes over there and I'm like, oh, yeah, what? Oh, what was I thinking of? What were we talking about? I can't actually focus really easily on something small if something big is going by. Guys, I think right now it's so important that we do that. It's so important that we stop and we try to hear that still small voice, that whisper that God has for us. He wants to tell us something. He wants to talk to you, and we need to stop and listen to him. There's another story I'd like to tell you. Years ago when I was working at Youth for Christ in St. Thomas, it was a winter afternoon, one of those really big snows coming down, and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm just leaning back and I'm looking out the window because I'm trying to get ready for a youth group that night, and I put my feet up on the desk and I'm like, I'm struggling to think, what am I going to talk about? I have so many things going on at the time. I've got bills to pay, I've got this stuff to arrange, I've got this youth group to get, oh my gosh, there's a March break camp coming up, all this stuff. And then I realized there was no one else in the office with me. And I just stopped. I took a breath and I looked out the window at those huge snowflakes gently falling past my window. And as I was doing that, and I stopped talking and I stopped thinking and I just started enjoying what was going on, I heard a tick, 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 and I'm thinking, what the heck is that sound? What's going on here? It was the clock up on the wall. I'd never heard the clock before because it was always too loud in there. There's always too much noise going on in there. I couldn't hear that clock going. And let me tell you, in listening to the clock and watching the snow, I found a peace that day that was just overwhelming. It was like time stood still for me. And I was able to catch my breath. Why? Because I stopped and I listened. God wants us to do that. Stop and listen. Wait for him. Sometimes we talk too much. Sometimes we don't listen enough. In my case, it's harder to. Yes, sometimes it is selective hearing. So what? But we do need to stop and listen to God and hear what it is he has for us. So guys, I want you to do that today. Even if it's only 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, go for 45 seconds. But at some point, try to stop, put everything on hold, everything on pause, and ask God, what do you have for me today? I think you'll find it's a good thing. All right. Bless you all. Thank you for stopping by and taking time to listen to me. As I've been saying before, you can leave a comment down below if you want to. And we really enjoy that you guys are watching our videos. We hope that you're getting something out of these things and that you enjoy seeing them. So thank you very much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye. God bless.